Hello, my crafting fans. Today we're going to be doing a fun and very personal project today, and that is creating a hand-painted banner because my daughter is coming home from college. So I got to get all my paint, all my brushes, all my things out of my craft area. And then I also picked up some craft paper at Hobby Lobby. This huge roll was only $3. I'm going to show you how I'm going to turn some basic craft paper that you can just get anywhere essentially and turn it into a work of art. These banners are all the rage and they also sell for hundreds of dollars over on Etsy. I'm going to show you how I design it. I'm also going to show you how in the world do I get it from my computer to the actual big huge paper that I'm going to use, and then how to paint. These painted banners are great for birthdays, nurseries, or even homecoming. So today what I need you to do is grab some paintbrushes and some paint and let's get crafting.
We're going to start today on my craft room floor because the very first thing we have to do is we have to create the size banner that we want for our finished project. And I don't have a workspace large enough in my house or anywhere for a roll this size. So on the floor I go. I'm just taking my trusty, dusty fabric measuring tape and I'm creating the length that I want. I am marking it in two spots at the top and the bottom. Then I'm going to take my long ruler and make one really straight line from width to width, and then take some scissors and trim it off, making sure that it's nice and straight. Then what you want to do is head over to Canva and go into custom sizes. We're going to change this over from pixels to inches. And at this point in time, what you want to do is add in the size of your finished sign into the area and then press generate canvas. Now today I'm going to be using Canva Pro just because I pay for it, but you actually don't have to have Canva Pro in order to make this sign. All right, at this point in time, what we have to do is start building our sign. So I'm going to go into elements, and the first thing I'm going to do is search up like a gingham banner, find one that you like, and just add that into your canvas. And then if you like it, what you want to do is right click and press attach image. Then what I'm going to do is go back into elements and I'm going to insert a square into my canvas. And I'm going to make this larger a little bit. Well, I guess it's large, but it's smaller than the gingham banner. I don't want to cut it off all the way. And I'm going to change this over to white. Then I'm going to copy and paste my new white rectangle, and I am going to change this over to brown because this is going to represent that brown craft paper that I'm going to be using. This is what is going to be the negative space in my banner. Now it's time to insert some text. So either you can press T on your keyboard or go over onto the far left where you see that text. Then you can click and a new text box will open up. At this point in time, what you have to do is choose what you're going to put on your banner. I'm going to be doing Welcome Home, Silly Goose. You can do whatever you want. And then choose some fonts. The hardest part of any project, doesn't matter if you're using free Canva, pro Canva, if you're doing a laser project or or any type of project, even like a Cricut project, the hardest part of any project is picking a dang font. There is so many choices that you honestly have choice overload. So once you find one that you like, stick with it. Don't keep switching because otherwise you're going to be stuck at this forever. And then staying inside Canva, what I'm going to do is go back into elements and I'm going to search for some geese. So I'm going to search for one that I like, insert that. I think she's so cute. So then what I'm going to do is just resize her into my little sign. I'm going to play around a lot with the sizing, spacing, and stuff like that of how I want my sign to look like. Outside of choosing the font, now trying to set everything up to what you like is the second hardest spot. So readjusting all of the font, lettering, and my goose that I have until I get kind of something that I like. Also, the cool thing about this is like oftentimes when you click on an image that you like, you'll see underneath where it says like find like items. Just click on like the view all. It will show you like items of that. So for mine, I didn't really have to do much. I just have that little chick that's right there. So I insert that. And now I can really play around with the layout of my finished sign. Now, if you wanted to keep your font and lettering black, you totally could. But now what you can do is select your font and then change over the lettering color to the colors that will match your design. You can stop there, or you can be like me and try and overthink it and try and add more and more and more into your design. But don't. I suggest just stopping where you got, because what we have right here on the screen is so cute. All right, now what you have to do is hang up your poster. Luckily, everything on my craft room is all on wheels, so I can just move stuff away and make my one blank wall, an available wall to paint on. This is not a flattering angle of me. I probably should have chose a better outfit to wear, but you know what? This is a mom that is ready for her kid to come home, and I don't really care what I look like. So anyways, hang up your poster on your wall, all four corners, because it clearly is rolling up if I don't do all four corners. Then what we are going to do is set up our tripod. If you don't have a tripod, stacking your projector up on like books or like a desk or something like that will work. But I'm going to set mine up on a tripod just because I have that, and that's what I'm going to use. My projector just screws right on top of my tripod, which is fabulous for me. And then you just want to turn this sucker on. So my particular projector, it will and can do like a Bluetooth situation, but for some reason I can never figure out or remember how to do that. So what I do is I just plug in my USB-C outlet or cable to the back of my projector and then like plug it into my laptop, so then it is connected that way. Again, you could totally do this Bluetooth. I just can never remember how to do it. Okay, then back over at Canva, what you want to do is first save your work, and then what you want to do is press share. Now, sometimes you'll be able to see it right at the very front where it will say present, but if you don't see it, what you need to do is go over to those three dots where it says like see all, click on that. And then you're going to look for the little button that says present. When you find that, click on that. And then this is kind of what it looks like on my end. You're going to see that you have seen my entire computer screen. And then when I press present, everything else just disappears besides my actual sign. Okay. Now at this point, you can do one or two things. What you could do is you could readjust your paper sign in order to be exactly where you're projecting your screen from. Or you could do what I'm doing, which is moving my projector around. So I'm going to move it to where it's far enough away so it's the exact same length of my sign. And then I'm going to adjust my tripod down a little bit to where it's not going to be too hard to reach for me on the actual sign where I'm like projecting it. Then I go back over to my sign and I start moving my paper from there. Minor adjustments. It's probably the one thing that is a little bit nitpicky. If you were doing this forever, like a professional sign painter or whatever, you would just set up your tripod or your projector in one spot and then never move it. But because I don't do these quite often, I always have to move my projector, and then I'm always having to reset up your things. All right, now it's time to get to painting. This is going to take the longest time. The gingham pattern is what takes the longest. Everything else is easy breezy. So if you wanted to be like time saver and not spend a whole lot of time hand painting a banner, don't do the gingham pattern because it takes forever to do. But essentially what we got to do is start painting. I'm going to start on the very outside and work my way in. I'm left-handed, and why does everything have to be so difficult for a left-hander? Because my hand wants to drag everywhere. I get a really good shoulder exercise. But anyways, now instead of doing like little boxes of colors, I was trying to like not have to switch my paintbrush over and over and over again. So what I did here is I just painted my blue stripes. I do know there's two different colors of blue here, but I will go back later. I'm going to do a solid blue everywhere I see blue. And then what I'm going to do is go back in and do all the white squares. Okay, now what I need to do is let everything dry. Yes, there are some drip marks in the border. Don't worry, we're going to fix that later. But now that I need to let my gingham dry, because I have to go back in and do the darker blue, what I'm going to do now is focus on everything that is white. So silly goose, and then also my white goose, I need to start painting all of those white. Okay, now that the border has dried a little bit, what I'm going to do now is paint in my light blue squares. So essentially all I did was, to make sure that I had the correct color here, is I took my dark blue paint that I was painting, and then I took my white and I mixed them together, and I got this really pretty light blue. It's not revolutionary. But anyways, now what you want to do is just by using your original design, you just want to paint in the light blue squares. The unfortunate part about using a projector is that it works best in dark light. So that's where you're going to get the dark light. And then what I'm going to do now is paint in my light pink welcome home. Now, essentially, what you're going to do is paint until your heart's content or until the sign is finished. The larger the sign, the longer things are going to take to paint. Just know that, my friend. I'm just going to give you a little side note here. So these sell for like $200-300 on Etsy, right? And the entire time, this actual sign ended up taking, I think it was like 5.5, almost 6 hours. Like it was a really long time. And I was telling the hubs, I was like, man, this kind of stinks for like a one-time use situation. The end result ends up looking absolutely amazing, but like 6 hours. And he's like, well, how much do people sell these for on Etsy? And I was like, $300. He's like, $300. And I said, yeah. So we get to looking, and I've made printed banners this size, right, with my 24-inch printer. And when you compare that to a hand painted banner, the quality is unmatched. Like you can tell that this is a hand painted banner versus just like something that's printed on a canvas. I totally appreciate the hard work that goes into making these banners, but like, holy cow. When I was like, oh, I'm going to paint this banner, it's probably only going to take me like an hour and a half. Joke's on me. So essentially, paint until your heart's content. Okay, so now that the sign is finished, what you can do is just leave it on your wall and let it dry. However, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take it off the wall and I'm going to clean up the edges a little bit. And by clean up, I mean I'm going to make some scalloped edges because that's stinking cute. And I just want to make things even cuter than what it already is. So we are just going to take a larger cup, a plastic cup, and I'm just going to trace around it. And this is going to give me my like wavy scalloped edges, and then just take some scissors and cut around your lines. Cut lines. Yes. And you can do touch-up paint if you want to. I did. I don't think anyone actually appreciated my touch-up paint, but you know what? I touched up. Okay, now you want to let it dry. And here's my sign all finished and hung up at the front of my house. Didn't this just turn out so cute?
I'm absolutely obsessed with this hand painted banner. And you do know, if you've watched any of my previous videos, that I actually don't love my rainbow wall. Maybe I should just keep this here for now on, or paint a whole nother sign with a theme that I want. We could do like holidays, themes, seasonal things, and I could just change them out every single season or holiday. What do you think? You let me know in the comments of this video. I sure hope I inspired you to create, my friends, and I'll see you on the next one.